Hey everyone, welcome back to Gadgets Pod. Today, we're talking about something that's been a game changer for my smart home, and I think it'll be for yours too. If you've got smart devices like lights, thermostats, or cameras, you probably know the struggle. Every device comes with its own app. One app for your lights, another for your thermostat, and yet another for your security cameras. It's a mess, right? Not to mention, most of these apps rely on the cloud, which can be slow, unreliable, and even raise privacy concerns. But what if I told you there's a better way? A single, secure solution that brings all your devices together under one roof, works entirely on your local network, and gives you complete control over your smart home? That's exactly what Home Assistant does. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Home Assistant on a Raspberry Pi, a super affordable and powerful way to create your own smart home hub. No more switching between apps, no more relying on the cloud, and no more privacy worries. Let's dive in and simplify your smart home. Before we jump into the setup, let's quickly talk about why Home Assistant is such a great choice for your smart home. Local control. Runs entirely on your network. No cloud dependency, faster responses, and better privacy. Universal compatibility. Works with 2,000+ devices like Philips Hue, Nest, Zigbee, Amazon, etc. under one roof. Customizable dashboards. Design your own interface with themes, cards, and layouts. Advanced automations. Create rules like lights at sunset or alerts for open doors. Open source and free. No subscriptions. Community-driven updates and improvements. Privacy first. Zero data mining. Your smart home stays offline and secure. Community power. Tap into HACS, Home Assistant Community Store, for endless add-ons and integrations. Now, let's go over what you'll need to get started. Don't worry, it's not complicated, and you probably already have some of these items lying around. Here's the checklist. A Raspberry Pi. I'm using a 4B, but a 3B Plus will work too. A MicroSD card, 16 GB or larger is recommended. An Ethernet cable or Wi-Fi connection for internet access. A power supply for your Pi. A card reader to write the Home Assistant OS image onto the MicroSD card. And finally, the Home Assistant OS image, which we'll download in just a moment. Optional but helpful. A case to protect your Pi and a cooling fan to prevent overheating. If you're using a Raspberry Pi 4, I highly recommend the Argon 1V2 case. It's sleek, keeps your Pi cool, and looks fantastic on your desk. I've made a full video on it, so check out the link in the description if you're interested. Now that you've got everything ready, it's time to flash the Home Assistant OS onto your MicroSD card. Don't worry, it's easier than it sounds. First, we need to download the Raspberry Pi imager. Head to raspberrypi.com/software. I'll leave the link in the description. Once there, download the imager for your operating system, Windows, Mac, or Linux. This tool makes flashing OS images to your SD card super simple. Once the download finishes, open the installer and follow the prompts to install it. This should only take a minute. When it's done, launch the Raspberry Pi imager. You'll see a simple interface with 3 buttons: Choose Device, Choose OS, and Choose Storage. Click Choose Device and select Raspberry Pi 4 from the drop-down list. This ensures the imager optimizes the OS for your specific hardware. Click Choose OS, scroll down to Other Specific Purpose OS, then select Home Assistant under the Home Automation section. Make sure to pick the version that matches your Raspberry Pi model, like RPI4 for a Pi 4. Insert your SD card into your computer using an SD card reader. Back in the imager, click Choose Storage and select your SD card. Warning: this will erase all data on the card, so double-check you've selected the right one. Click Next to start writing Home Assistant OS to the SD card. This will take 5 to 10 minutes. Grab a coffee while you wait. The imager will verify the write automatically. Once the process finishes, safely eject the SD card from your computer. This ensures no data gets corrupted. Pop the SD card into your Raspberry Pi. For the best experience, connect it to your router with an Ethernet cable, ensuring a stable connection. Finally, plug in the power. Your Pi will now boot up and install Home Assistant. With the SD card inserted and everything connected, press the power button to boot up your Raspberry Pi. The first time you boot the Raspberry Pi, it will take a few minutes as Home Assistant initializes and sets itself up. Go ahead and wait patiently while the system sets up. Feel free to grab another coffee if you need to. Once the setup process is complete, typically within a few minutes, you can access your newly configured Home Assistant. Once the Raspberry Pi has finished booting, open a browser on your computer and go to http://homeassistant.local:8123. If homeassistant.local doesn't work, you can find your Raspberry Pi's IP address using an IP scanner like Fing or Advanced IP Scanner. Scan your network, then look for a device named Home Assistant or Raspberry Pi. Note the IP address and type it into your browser with :8123 at the end. Using the IP address in our case it's like this: 192.168.68.72:8123. After accessing the URL, Home Assistant will automatically set up its core system. This includes installing dependencies and configuring the environment. Home Assistant automatically configures your system in the background. It checks your network settings, installs updates, and ensures everything is ready. You'll see a progress bar with the message, "Preparing Home Assistant." This can take 5 to 10 minutes, so be patient and don't unplug your Pi. Once the automated setup finishes, you'll land on the welcome screen. You're just a few clicks away from setting up your smart home. Let's begin. Click Create My Smart Home to start personalizing your setup. First, create your account. Choose a username, set a strong password, and give your home a name, like Smart Cottage or Tech Den. We've named ours Gadgets Pod. This helps organize your setup if you ever add multiple locations later. Next, set your location and time zone. This ensures automations like turn on lights at sunset work accurately. Drag the map to your city or type it in, then confirm your time zone. Hit Finish, and Home Assistant will finalize your setup. You'll now see your dashboard. It's empty now, but soon you'll fill it with devices and automations. And that's it. You've just set up Home Assistant on your Raspberry Pi and taken the first step toward a smarter, more connected home. But this is just the beginning. In the next video, we'll dive into the fun stuff: adding your smart devices, creating powerful automations, and connecting the Home Assistant mobile app to control everything on the go. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. Let me know in the comments what devices you're excited to add first. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.